He was always ranked last in his class, and after failing the college entrance exam, he tried to sneak into the tour bus of a prestigious university, but a teacher stopped him.
I'm sorry, Rudy. This bus is for students who are interested in attending the university. It's not a sightseeing tour.
Well, maybe someday I could go to school there.
The teacher pulled him aside and urged him to face reality. After all, his grades weren't even good enough for a technical college.
Rudy, not everyone is meant to go to college.
Those simple words reminded him of when he told his family as a child that he wanted to play football at Notre Dame after high school, but what he received wasn't their support. Instead, it was their merciless ridicule. In their eyes, Rudy was too small and skinny to ever become a football player, but Rudy refused to accept that fate. To chase his dream, he watched every Notre Dame football game commentary and could passionately recount each one. Finally, after graduating from high school, those brief words from his teacher pierced his heart once again, yet all he could do was turn his back on his dream and walk away, dejected. 4 years passed in the blink of an eye. After graduation, Rudy worked at a steel mill in his town for 4 years. On his 22nd birthday, his best friend Pete gave him a Notre Dame jersey. Though second-hand, it carried the weight of their precious friendship. Rudy excitedly put it on right away. Turns out, he had never forgotten his dream. He had even saved up $1,000 as his dream fund. When Pete found out, he sighed and said,
"My dad always said, having dreams is what makes life tolerable."
That phrase seemed to have followed Rudy throughout his upbringing, yet farewell always comes unexpectedly. A boiler explosion took Pete's life. At the funeral, Rudy was overcome with grief. From then on, no one would willingly listen to him tirelessly recount games again. You never know whether tomorrow or an accident will come first. With that in mind, Rudy refused to let his dream wait any longer. He decided to leave right away to pursue it. He said goodbye to his girlfriend and family, but just before leaving, his father still tried to persuade Rudy to let go of his impractical hopes. Working at the factory like his brothers would still mean a decent life, but Rudy didn't want to spend his whole life buried in the furnaces of the steel mill. Though he didn't know how winding the road ahead would be, having a bright hope in his heart was enough. When he arrived at Notre Dame, the sky had just begun to lighten. A security guard suggested he speak with the university's priest first, but upon learning that Rudy, an average student, wanted to directly enter Notre Dame, the priest, much like his father, advised him, not everyone can attend this university.
Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to go to school here. And ever since I was a kid, everyone said it couldn't be done. My whole life, people have been telling me what I could do and couldn't do. I've always listened to them, believed in what they said. I don't want to do that anymore.
His words moved the experienced priest. He advised Rudy to first study at a nearby community college. If his grades were excellent enough, he might have a chance to transfer to Notre Dame. His long-held dream finally saw a glimmer of hope. He finally laid eyes on Notre Dame, the place he had dreamed of day and night. Excited, Rudy didn't even set down his luggage before heading straight to the sacred football field in his heart. Everything around him seemed to whisper promising future. Then a black janitor noticed Rudy and told him to leave, but Rudy loudly declared to him, "One day, I'll run onto that field through that tunnel." After that, Rudy officially began his college life. To get straight A's, he listened attentively and took notes in every class. As soon as class ended, he would head straight to the Notre Dame football field next door to try talking to the coaches, but no one paid him any attention. To get closer to the team, Rudy found the black janitor who had kicked him out earlier and offered to work as his assistant for free. No salary needed. After Rudy's persistent pleading, the janitor was finally moved by his determination. The next day, Rudy followed the janitor into the team locker room to clean. He read the mottos of past players on the wall, recited the names of every famous football star in Notre Dame's history, and even knew exactly which locker belonged to whom. Growing more excited, Rudy brought over a stool, stood on it, and passionately recited the most famous speech in Notre Dame history. Years had passed, but Rudy hadn't changed a bit. He was still the boy who held on to his dreams. Since all his savings had gone toward tuition, Rudy had nowhere to go at night. He could only climb through a window into a storage room to rest. Not long after, Notre Dame welcomed its first football game of the new season. But with no money, Rudy was mercilessly turned away at the gate. The high walls outside the stadium represented the distance between him and his dream. So close, yet untouchable. Only after the crowd dispersed could he finally feel the lingering excitement of the field. The time spent looking toward the future may be lonely and long, but unexpected warmth will always come to nourish the heart. That night, as usual, he climbed into the storage room, only to unexpectedly find an extra blanket and a key on the bed. It turned out the janitor had noticed his situation long ago. The next day, Rudy thanked him, but the janitor acted like he knew nothing. Some things don't need to be said out loud. Understanding in silence is the best response. Soon, a semester passed. After a term of hard work, Rudy wrote furiously during his exams, and ultimately earned 1A and 3 B's. Though a huge improvement from before, it was still far from enough to get into Notre Dame. Sure enough, his transfer application was coldly rejected. Disheartened, Rudy returned home just before Christmas, hoping to find some comfort from his family. But all his efforts over the semester only earned him his father's indifference and his eldest brother's mockery. Even harder to accept was that his former girlfriend was now dating his second brother. The house was bright with lights, but not a single one shone for him. Rudy rushed out the door and once again embarked on his lonely journey toward his dream. The second semester, Rudy Rudy remained just as diligent, but the results were still disappointing. He complained to the janitor about wasting a year, but the janitor told him, "You're only thinking about getting into the football team. You don't realize you've received another year of high-quality education. We often obsess over what we don't have, overlooking the scenery we've already passed. Caring too much about the outcome can backfire." Rudy regained his confidence and threw himself into his studies with a fresh attitude, but his average aptitude kept meaningful rewards just out of reach. The third semester, Rudy's application still went unanswered, leaving him completely lost. How much harder did he have to work to win his dreams' favor? If he failed again in the fourth semester, he would lose his chance at Notre Dame forever. They didn't accept transfer students in their junior year. The priest comforted him, saying he had already given his dream more than enough effort. But Rudy replied, "Without a good outcome, it's all in vain." The priest didn't know how to comfort him at that moment, but by then, Rudy had no way out. He could only gather his strength and keep fighting. In what felt like no time, the fourth semester was about to end. Rudy received another letter from Notre Dame, but this time, he didn't even have the courage to open it on the spot. He went to a park alone, trembling as he tore open the envelope. As he read, tears streamed uncontrollably from his eyes. All his hard work had finally paid off. He immediately shared the good news with his father. His father looked at the acceptance letter in disbelief. Even his eldest brother was stunned. Then his father excitedly picked up the factory intercom and announced the news to all the workers. But for Rudy, his dream was just beginning. Rudy attended the trial tryout at the University of Notre Dame. The tryouts were filled with countless football talents, but only 15 would be chosen to join the practice squad as backups for the main team. Rudy's eyes shone with determination. For his dream, he had prepared thoroughly. He knew that field better than anyone else there. Hard work was his defining trait. He never gave up. Getting back up after every fall showed his unyielding spirit. Even with his physical disadvantages, he never backed down. Bleeding from collisions was the best tribute to his dream. Though he lacked the strength of the bigger players, his relentless drive caught the attention of an assistant coach. Despite his colleagues' objections, the coach insisted on keeping Rudy on the team, but he warned him there could be no slacking off in future training, or he would be cut immediately. Rudy was overjoyed. He was now just one step away from his dream. He went to the field to thank the janitor for everything, and returned the key to the storage room. The janitor promised Rudy, "If you ever get to play, I'll be there to watch." On the football field, there were two kinds of jerseys, the gold and white worn by the starters, and the blue and white worn by the practice squad. The starters were big and powerful, while the smaller Rudy was knocked down again and again, only to get back up every time. Even when knocked unconscious, he struggled to his feet. Rudy was like a catfish placed among sardines. He made the entire Notre Dame team better, but his relentless attitude soon drew resentment from other players. Some even warned him not to try so hard. During one practice, Rudy got so into it that he knocked a starter to the ground. The player immediately fought back, yelling that Rudy was a show-off. It was just an ordinary training session, but he acted like it's the Super Bowl. Yet Rudy's tenacious fighting spirit was the very soul of football. The head coach sharply reprimanded that player.
"If you had a tenth of the heart of Rudiger's, you could have made All-American."
He had seen all of Rudy's efforts. Back home, Rudy told his family he had made it onto the Notre Dame football team. Even though his face still bore bruises from practice, no one believed him. They had never seen him on TV. Returning to campus, Rudy went to the coach and asked for a chance to play in the next game as a senior year gift for his father.
Is this just for your father?
No, it's for everybody who told me that being a Notre Dame football player would be impossible. It's for my brothers, the kids in my high school, the guys I work with at the mill.
Seeing his sincerity, the coach readily agreed. Someone who worked so hard deserved a chance to shine. Rudy immediately told his father the exciting news, but just a few days later, the head coach was suddenly transferred. Worse still, the new coach knew nothing about Rudy. Though Rudy worked as hard as ever, his name never appeared on the starting roster. Time and again, he gave his all with hopeful anticipation, only to be met with deep disappointment. This continued throughout the entire season. For the final game, Rudy's name was still absent from the starting lineup. That cold reality crushed his last hope. Disheartened, Rudy skipped the final practice, but the janitor, upon hearing this, urged him to be content.
In this lifetime, you don't have to prove nothing to nobody except yourself. And after what you've gone through, if you haven't done that by now, it ain't gonna never happen.
Rudy apologized for not letting him see his first game on the field, but the janitor said he has watched quite a few games here, not from the stands, but on the bench of the team. It turned out he too had once been a Notre Dame player, but after never getting playing time, he quit the team in frustration. Ever since then, he had regretted it endlessly, so he didn't want Rudy to give up now. After a moment of reflection, Rudy put on his jersey and returned to the practice field. All the players applauded, welcoming him back. After practice, the team captain knocked on the head coach's door, asking if Rudy could take his place on the field. Then, one by one, the players entered the coach's office, risking being kicked off the team to fight for Rudy's chance. As the pile of jerseys on the desk grew taller, the coach finally, reluctantly, agreed to their request. On game day, all of Rudy's family attended. The janitor also kept his promise to come watch his first game. In the locker room, the captain asked Rudy if he was ready.
I'm ready for this my whole life.
Then you take us out on the field.
when Rudy led the team through the tunnel and onto the field. His family and friends couldn't help but feel overwhelmed with emotion. Though it was a championship-level showdown, Notre Dame quickly took a commanding lead. Thanks to Rudy's intense, all-out efforts in practice, the team played with effortless ease, with touchdown after touchdown and interception after interception. They secured a firm victory. With only 1 minute left in the game, the coach, going back on his word, let all the senior players onto the field, except Rudy. Feeling this was unjust, the assistant captain began chanting Rudy's name. The rest of the team joined in, and soon the stands were swept up in the chant. With 37 seconds left in the game, the players on the field changed tactics on their own. In full offensive mode, they scored a touchdown in just 10 seconds. At the same time, the announcers shared Rudy's story. His efforts were now known to everyone. The crowd's chants for Rudy grew louder and louder. Under pressure, the coach finally gave him 27 seconds of playing time. Once on the field, the assistant coach told him to stay put, but in the last 7 seconds, Rudy made a perfect tackle. 8 years of effort, all for just 27 seconds on the field. After the game, Rudy was carried off the field on his teammates' shoulders. Since 1975, no one at Notre Dame had ever been honored in such a way. This is a true story. From a steelworker to a student at a prestigious university, he traded 8 of the best years of his youth for 27 seconds of glory.